Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a fun interactive card featuring the new pop-up burst base dies from Concord and Ninth along with the Burst of Cheer bundle. This is so much fun. It creates this card with a burst of elements inside. It's such a fun surprise and I absolutely love these products, and they're a part of the brand new December 2024 release from Concord and Ninth. So here's a look at the products that I'll be working with. And I'm going to be featuring the pop-up burst base dies. This die set includes all the functional elements that you need to create that pop-up burst. It works so well with the new Burst of Cheer bundle. It also works with the Burst of Blooms. It features this large functional element which you'll place inside the fold of your card, this large banner, as well as a belly band. There's a couple of belly band supports and then that template there at the top, which is not actually a die, but a template to help you place the elements inside the card. These new Burst of Cheer dies are one of my favorites from the release. I absolutely love them, and they remind me of my cabin die set from Summer Camp 2024. So these may look a little familiar, but they are a little different than what was previously released. There's also the Burst of Cheer stamp set and this stencil set, which is a Turnabout stencil set, and I'll be using the confetti version. I have all these products linked in the description below, so if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Now here's my color palette for today. I am using Ballet Slipper, Watermelon, Honeycomb, Lemongrass, Juniper, and Peacock. And I'm going to start my card by doing some die cutting. Now, one thing I did want to point out about these Burst of Cheer dies is that the O's are marked. So if you turn these dies over on the back, you will see some etching that says first O and second O. So just make sure you do them in the right order so that all of the angles line up correctly. I'm starting out by cutting my cardstock into 1-inch strips so that my letter rays will fit on those strips. And then I have some diamond glitter cardstock that I'll be die cutting the stars and the actual letters for the word hooray from as well. I'm placing as many of these onto my die cut plates as I can at one time so that I can save time. I'll run that through and I have beautiful die cuts on all of these. I'm using my Anna Griffin Impress today, but you can use whatever die cut machine that you may have. And while that glitter cardstock looks like I didn't get it cut all the way, it actually cut like butter on the first try. I just needed to pop these letters out. So on my second pass of the die cut machine, I'm going to cut another set of those stars from that diamond glitter cardstock. And I'm also going to cut the word hooray one more time from some plain white cardstock so that I can kind of stack those up just a little bit. Keep in mind, this is going on the inside of your card, inside the fold. So you want to make sure that you're not making too much bulk. I wouldn't recommend any sort of foam adhesive. I'm just adding another layer of cardstock here. Once I have all of my die cutting done, I'm starting the assembly process. So I'm stacking up the letters on top of the rays in the white cardstock first, and then topping those off with the glitter cardstock version. These are easy to line up, and I'm just using some liquid glue to adhere all of these, and then I'll place a block over the top while those dry. Now that I have those assembled, I'm going to go ahead and die cut the banner as well as the banner supports from some sea glass cardstock. This is from the pop-up burst base die set. This banner die is going to give me not only the base of my banner, but the tail ends. And you can see I have the little supports, and I'll show you how to assemble those in just a bit. I'm also going to take this large kind of cone-shaped piece. This is the base of the pop-up burst for the inside of the card. I'm die cutting it from some cardstock vellum, and then I'm folding on all of the score lines that are created by the die. Now, this smaller flap, you want to fold it across the front of the entire base. And for the score lines on the larger piece, you're going to fold all of those into a mountain fold, or up towards your face or up towards the camera, however you want to look at that. Make sure that both of the center lines on the smaller flap in the front and that larger flap in the back are mountain folds. When you have all of these folded, you're basically going to end up with two cone shapes that are kind of layered on top of each other. And now I'm taking some liquid glue on the small flap of that front shape, and I'm adhering it to the base of the larger shape. Now the die does create score lines to help you line up this tab, so you kind of have to just pull it into place. And then I'm using some reverse grip tweezers to hold that in place while the glue sets up. Now keep in mind, you don't want to overwork vellum, because if you overwork vellum, it tends to tear. And so I was really careful with not kind of scoring these fold lines too much, because I don't want to create cracks and tears in the vellum. I did try this process with some acetate first, and I found out that it was way too thick to put on the inside of a card, but you could also disguise this base piece by die cutting it from the same color cardstock as your card base. Now you can see I've started assembling my letter rays to the base of this. I'm adhering them to the smaller shape that's on the front side of this base piece. I'm adding liquid glue just to the lower part of the ray, and then assembling the center letters first and then the outermost letters, and then I'll nestle in the middle letters on each side of that cone into the center. Now these points on this will line up with the point on that base piece, so they're really easy to assemble to get them all spaced out correctly. And you can see I've even adhered a glitter star to kind of that ray portion of the A. Now I've die cut the little star rays as well, or the little spikes that you attach them to that pop-up base from some vellum, and I've adhered some glitter stars on the top, and I'm adhering those to the larger cone or the larger part of this base, so the back portion that you can see there. And now that that's all assembled, I can work on the banner piece. Now I'm going to start with the supports for the banner. So these are pop-up supports. You're going to fold on each of the score lines and add some liquid glue to the end tab, and fold the other end tab right over the top of that liquid glue, making sure that the edges line up. And then once again, I'm using my reverse grip tweezers to hold those in place while the glue dries. Now, because of the angles, you do have to kind of twist the cardstock into place just a little bit. You can see I'm doing that here, but once you get it into place and you kind of hold it in place, allow that glue to set up, it stays in place perfectly. Now for the banner, I'm using the Burst of Cheer stamp set, and I'm stamping that happy birthday right onto the banner using some sea glass ink. And then I'm going to start folding my banner. So once again, that center fold line, you're going to want to fold into a mountain crease so that it's kind of pointing up towards you. And these outer fold lines, you're going to want to fold into a valley. Now the dies make all the score lines for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And I just like to reinforce those folds with my bone folder. Now on these outer portions of the banner, there is a score line and there is a dotted or a dashed line. The score line is there to help you place them on the end of the banner. So you don't want to pay attention to that dashed line at this point. I'm just paying attention to the score line, and I'm lining up the lower part of the banner with the outline that the score line is created. Then I'll flip this over and put glue inside of that dotted or dashed line, and that is where I'm going to align the little supports for the banner. So this works out perfectly. I love how Concord and Ninth thinks of all the little details to kind of guide you along during the process so that you get everything right into the correct spots. Those score lines and dash lines and all of those things really do make a difference when it comes to assembling an interactive card like this. So now my banner is assembled and ready to go inside of my card. I have my pop-up burst base ready to go inside of my card. And now I'm creating my card base. So this is 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and I'm scoring at 4 1/4. This die set was designed to work with an A2 portrait style card, so you can't use a top fold or a landscape fold for this. Now you can see I used the new stencil set to create a design inside of my card, and now I have this template piece. Now this is another piece that's really convenient, and it's all marked for you. It shows you which part to align with the bottom of the card, where to align the center fold of your card, and I have that position, and you can see I have the fold visible in that opening there, just like it says, and I have it aligned with the bottom of my card. Now this is not a die, it's just a template, so I don't don't need to run it through my die cut machine. I just need to take a pencil and trace along that point that's in the center and these outer brackets. These are going to be my guidelines for placing the pop-up burst base inside of the card along with that banner. You can see them there on my card base. Now I'm taking some double-sided adhesive and I'm applying it to the outer flaps of the pop-up burst base. I could have done this earlier, but I wasn't ready to adhere it, so I went ahead and just did this step at this time. Now keep in mind, there is one longer flap along that left-hand side, and then there is a shorter flap along the right-hand side near the top, and there's a tiny little triangle flap at the bottom. So you need to put some adhesive on all three of those flaps. You can see this tiny little triangle flap there. I'm putting some adhesive on that, and then I'm going to trim off the excess. It was just easier than tearing it. Now I removed the backer from the adhesive on all of these flaps, and then I'm lining up the point of the pop-up base with that kind of triangle or point shaped mark that I created using the template inside of my card. And I like to get that point positioned and then kind of flatten this down to get all of my flaps into the right place. And you can see when I fold this up, it folds right into the center of my card. Folding this a few times will kind of help everything to function a little better. And you might see my little star sticking out here. I did have to go and readjust that and kind of move it down further along that base piece so that it wasn't sticking out the side of my card when I folded it. So now that I have the pop-up burst base assembled inside of the card, I'm going to adhere the banner shape. So I'm putting liquid glue on the bottom side of those supports, and I'm lining them up with the bracket marks that I created using that pencil and that template piece, and then just pressing those down and kind of holding them in place. Now for the front of my card, I stamped the word hip twice onto some white cardstock. I die cut that using an A2 layering die, and then I stacked it up on a piece of glitter cardstock and added some glitter stars. Now I'm going to work on the belly band, and you'll notice that the belly band piece is labeled and it tells you to cut 2 of those. And once you fold along the score lines, you're just going to adhere these 2 pieces together on that long edge, and then you can bring it together at the center, and there's these 2 slits that interlock to create your belly band. Now I'm actually going to cover up that portion with that hip little card front that I created there. So I'm just placing that over the top of that center portion of the belly band on the card front. And I decided to add another layer to my card front, and I used the Sunburst card front die from Concord and 9th and die cut some watermelon cardstock and placed that on the front. So here is the finished card. You can see the belly band slides off. You can open the card and you have that really cool interactive design with the Burst of Cheer dies and the pop-up burst base dies. I absolutely love this design. I think it's so much fun. I had a great time putting this card together with all of those different colors and those fun glitter letters. And I can't wait to experiment with this pop-up burst base die set with other dies that I might already have in my stash. Keep in mind, if you're not into the Burst of Cheer bundle, which I can't imagine that you aren't, but there's also the Burst of Blooms bundle that is designed to coordinate with the pop-up burst base as well. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there, or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I'll have that linked below as well. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, I want to say thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here so you don't miss any of the paper crafting and card making video tutorials I share. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end. You know, if you've made it this far, you are one of my favorites. To subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click the button on the left side of the screen, and here's a couple more video tutorials I thought you might enjoy.